Hey guys, what is up? AwesomeTheSauce here. Hope you guys are having a great day and welcome to a video covering a bunch of new changes that dropped literally overnight. If you guys didn't know, there was a dev diary that dropped yesterday. I will be referring to it in this video, talking about all the changes that we see today and the changes that we can expect in the near future. With that dev diary, they did a hotfix where they did a lot to the game, and I thought I would get right into it. Possibly the biggest change. We're gonna start off with what I think is the biggest change from this update. They literally PvP disabled Blade Gambit. So right now, neither Storm Scion is actually available to be used in PvP. Death Djinn and the Life Oni are also all currently disabled in PvP. I guess they're just disabled in everything because it doesn't say, I've never seen that symbol before. I just think that the spell's just not accessible at the moment. Mainly just off of the fact that, I mean, it was literally broken. If you guys didn't know, this spell was basically using the buffs for those blades that you can set up the Gambit with before clearing them. So you would get up to 70% extra damage on a spell that was already doing 2800. Obviously, you know, not everyone can just do this for free rank. You know, it requires, like, you have to know how to blade. You have to have the right pet. You have to do things, obviously. But when used correctly, I would say that this spell was breaking PvP more than any other thing in the game. Hopefully, when they do fix it, it'll still be just as viable as any other Gambit and not broken beyond belief. But I'm just real happy with this, man. Me personally, I think a lot of people were very sick and tired of this. Yes, it's counterable, but goddamn is it annoying. And everyone in queue was doing it. The entire meta was circling around this and Death Djinn. Now, they will be coming back probably, almost certainly, right? But when they do come back, what I assume is going to happen is that the blades that are on you, the first 4 will get cleared, and then whatever's remaining will apply to the double damage condition, basically, which that is how it should be working, in my opinion. So I'm very excited to see if this will actually still be as good of a spell in the future. This was some donkey cheeks doodle butter. I hated it. I'm happy with this. Moving on to the next change. Now, not only did they nerf blade stack Gambits, they also nerfed quite hard, in my opinion, just blade stacking in general. So Balance got their Eye of Vigilance spell changed. Now there's something very important when I call this a balance spell. Yes, obviously balanced wizards can use it with power pips. It's very easy, but the nature of the spell is very universal. Let's explain what I mean by that, right? Shifting the scales, right? Let's say that your opponent has 3 shields and you have 3 traps on you, right? When you use this, you basically get 3 pips for yourself and 3 pips for your opponent. But the crazy good part about that is that the 3 pips for you can just be used on another riding the scales. So if someone's trapping you a ton, well, guess what? You can literally just use 1, and then you have the 3 white pips that you can use over and over and over again, and even reshuffle if you need more. Now, Eye of Vigilance did not used to be like this. What Eye of Vigilance does now is it literally gives you pips if your opponent has blades. Before, it was reverse. It would only give you pips if you had weaknesses on. So this is a much better blade counter and a much worse weakness counter. This is really interesting because, I mean, they just got rid of the blade gambits in PvP, I guess, so this is not gonna be that useful. I honestly was using Eye of Vigilance as a weakness counter, so this is not a huge W, like, without, you know, looking at everything. Like, this could actually be a bad thing in some ways. Now, this is probably one of the most, like, I'm real happy that they did this because this was clownish at best. They made also Guardian Spirit not in PvP. Now, before, every life wizard in the world pretends like I am the worst person on the earth. Before that, you know, let's explain why they did this. And this is, I think, very obvious to me. Maybe if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. They basically made this no PvP because it was supposed to be that when you used it, you would lose 10 seconds to the timer. Meaning, in exchange for a second life, a second try at PvP, even with that 15%, you would lose 10 seconds. So if it ever became a timer game, this would auto lose you the game. However, even though they said that in the patch notes that it was doing that, it wasn't doing that. So basically, people were just using Guardian Spirit from second. So basically what would happen, right, when they were second and they didn't lose those 10 seconds, they would essentially just heal over and over again. And even if they misplayed, well, they have a spell bringing them back, and eventually they just win the timer. Timer strategies in general should not be that prevalent in PvP. Once again, I think that's something a lot of people agree with. You want an actual end to a game, not some random arbitrary measure that tells you whether you won or lost, even though it has no intention of knowing exactly how the game was gonna go. What I'm trying to say is, like, you need an incentive to finish the game and bring your opponent down to 0. And this is where I'm gonna start referencing the dev diary from yesterday, because it has a lot of stuff on this. Now, this will not be a complete overview of this at all, so I highly recommend reading it. I'll link it in the description. But basically, they're saying that the timer win condition in general is just going to be removed for 5th stage. What they're exploring is the idea of a draw when it goes to timer, meaning it's not about who goes first, who goes second, who plays like what. It's none of that. It's if you go to timer, well, guess what? Nobody won, so nobody gets ranked. Now, this is very interesting, right? Because again, it incentivizes you to not just sit on your ass and heal, obviously, which is amazing. That's a very important thing. But more importantly, what is the punishment for a draw is my question, right? It seems like they're exploring multiple things. It might just be you lose rank, but if you get a lot of draws, then eventually it might actually make you not be able to queue at the same rate as other people. There might actually be sanctions for playing in a way where it's very, very obvious that you're consistently and always going for timer. It is really interesting to me that they're tying in sportsmanship, I guess, in terms of like whether you can queue or not. I think that should be a very important part. I'm not talking about whether you talk a little bit of trash or not. I'm talking about what your intention is for a game. If you're going into queue with pretty much the intention 50% of the time at least just to do nothing but heal, that's not good sportsmanship. That's just you being dumb for no reason. And honestly, this is gonna hit them where it hurts, right? People care about the 16 rank so much that they will do that, right? And this is something that is gonna prevent, hopefully, heal spamming. And at least in the short term, this spell isn't an auto win if you happen to go second and you can just, you know, basically wait out the timer with an extra life. Now, these are obviously all the changes to expect today, but there's one more. Every fire main is rolling in their graves right now. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it real. I saved this till the end because it is a pretty big change, but it's not that big. Basically, Heffy does 340 to 420 now. It used to do 425 to 475. What does this mean? That means a high-end Heffy now is basically a low-end Heffy before. This is not a big deal. Obviously, the utility of it is that it hits and then it bubbles, right? What is important is that people find other ways of doing damage other than Heffy. I'll be the first to admit, this is how I was doing most of my damage. It's going to be a little bit harder now, obviously. I think I'm going to have to change up exactly how I play on the school because it's gotten harder and harder. Now, this change comes mere weeks after the Infernal Salamander change. But I'll say this, both of these spells aren't unusable. In fact, I would say Infernal Salamander is more usable than I previously thought. So hopefully it's not the worst thing for us, you know, for us fire wizards. I'm struggling, but hopefully this is the last big nerf. I can't think of it, like, we're talking about a free, right? We're talking about Burning Rampage, Infernal Salamander, FFA, Fire Beetle. There's so many spells now that have gotten nerfed for fire. I really can't imagine them nerfing anymore. So hopefully this is rock bottom. And it only goes up from here. No, but seriously, I do hope Fire PP is still fun. I still have a lot of fun doing it, even if I'm not good at it. But those are all of the changes that you can expect to see today. So a removal of Blade Gambits, Guardian Spirit, and Eye of Vigilance, and Heffy are all changed. And in terms of the dev diary, we're going to be seeing more and more situations where there's hopefully less timer in general, less stalling strategies in general, and hopefully that will make more people come back into queue. I think 5th stage is literally going to incentivize PvP, and what I found really cool, and this is for all the people that stayed until the end of the video, they said in the dev diary that not only are the rewards just going to be new in general, they're going to require new programming. That means we could be seeing spells that we've literally never seen before, and hopefully they're tested well so that they work somewhat in a balanced way. But if that's true, like, especially if they're not just PvP only spells, that could be a huge reason to do PvP that didn't exist. Literally spells. I'm excited for that more than anything. I can't wait for 5th stage now. Especially, I hope that PvP is much more playable now. I think a lot of people are going to be returning to queue now that Scion is not there. I really think a lot of people left off of that. So hopefully that does happen. As always, man, drop a like if you enjoyed. Leave us a review. Let me know your thoughts about these changes in the comments below. And if somebody has not told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong. So stay awesome. I'll see y'all soon. And yeah.